Europe is facing terrible challenges. The question is raised. Will Europe be strong and flexible enough to remain competitive? What actions will Europe take to have a secure, sustainable and affordable energy supply? Europe is to a certain extent missing significant opportunities. The investments are lagging and education systems do not provide sufficiently the necessary skills. I have no doubt, if Europe wants to remain a global economic leader, it has to place industry center stage again and improve its competitiveness.
From our point of view as big business leaders, I think this idea of reindustrializing Europe is truly there. As a person who actually sits in boardrooms making decisions now on where energy-intense industry investments should be going, I would urge political leadership to not close any options right now. Keep all options open. Do not enter in a big debate on how we should actually reduce the energy mix around Europe.
There are 4 keys to unlock our ways to recovery. First, preserving financial stability. Second, improving the resilience of our economies through sound public finances focused on structural efforts and improved competitiveness. And the third key, fighting unemployment and supporting growth in the near term. And fourth, strengthening our economic and monetary union, working on all 4, making sure we don't neglect any. It's the only way forward.
Industry represents 75% of EU export and 80% of private investments in research. Each job in industry generates between 1 and 2 jobs in the service sectors. If we don't want to lose our know-how, it is also highly strategic to maintain a significant part of production sites in Europe. If we want to beat this crisis, of course it's important to work against public debt. Sacrifices are important. Austerity also is important. But without a strong action in favor of real economy, internal market, industry, small and medium-sized companies, it's impossible to beat the crisis.
Once again, we have a magnificent document, and I suggest that we send it together with Business Europe to a lot of political leaders, not only in Belgium, but all over Europe. If you would ask me in a few words, then I would say fiscal consolidation is critical, but structural reforms are a must. Structural reforms in the field of competitiveness, in the field of employment and skills, in the field of financing, in the field of energy. There is one vision, one strategy, and that strategy has to be fiscal consolidation combined with structural reforms.
There is still a big difference between the overall view on the necessity of reindustrializing Europe and what is sometimes produced on legislative terms. I mean, many things are going to the right direction, but as a whole, we think that still too many things are put at the table which do harm industrial competitiveness, and this is something we will have to remedy to. So to be rather brief, the recommendations we will hand over to Mr. Barroso this evening will be first, we will have to tackle energy policy, and there is a dramatic need for change in European energy policy. We need to open up the markets internally, but but also externally, and the TTIP, as has been said, is one of the biggest chances we have to create extra growth. And we will have to secure the supply and access to raw materials. European industry is of course very much dependent on imports and raw materials. This is why we have to play an active role on the global scale. It's about translating skills into employment, and this is of course before everything science, technology, engineering and mathematics. I think we are made the step that everybody's aware that change is necessary. But we will only have a limited period of time in order to put these reforms into place and in order to make Europe a competitive continent once again. Thank you.
Our industrial compact highlights 5 key areas for immediate action. First, without reliable, affordable and climate-friendly energy, there is no industrial economy. Second, our companies need sufficient air to breathe. Improving access to finance is vital. Third, our trade policy agenda must be ambitious. Fourth, we need to secure the supply of raw material at competitive prices. And last but not least, number 5, education, education, education. This illustrates the huge potential of a thriving European industry to overcome our current economic difficulties. Dear President Barroso, we count on you.
Now, coming back to the remarks of President Thumann, I agree with all these 5 points. The importance of energy policy, also what we have to do in terms of giving a more long-term perspective for investment, for certainty. The need of open global markets we have just mentioned. The finance future industrial growth I mentioned also there in my introductory remarks. It is very important to come back to a normal financing of the economy. Secure the supply of raw materials at competitive prices. This is also part of our external agenda, and this is, by the way, part of the trade agenda, where we are making this point clear with many of our partners, and translate skills into employment. This is also a very important concern. And whether we are conducting trade negotiations, reinforcing our energy policy to better meet the demands of European enterprise, creating a single market for the telecom industry, or fighting for smarter regulation, we need your experience, we need your input, you need your expertise, and above all, we need your active and vocal support, which I'm sure we can always count on. I thank you very much for your attention.